This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard. We are live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino here on NFL Draft Day, and it should be a doozy for the next 3 hours and leading into this event, which gets underway at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock out here on the West Coast. And we have a plethora of draft guests on the show today. Walter Cherepinsky, Walter Football, on the show coming up in 30 minutes. The latest from him. John Ledyard, who covers the NFL Draft, along with the Steelers and the Buccaneers. Get into those two teams. Paul Charchian, longtime friend of the show, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, on the Vikings draft and other bets that he is looking at. And Matt Brown, who's hosting a special countdown to the draft show, his bets that he has added in pocket maybe as late as today. And we will get into the playoff action that we have. A lot of day baseball, 3 night games in that sport as well. And I find this absolutely fascinating. I wish that I could quote the late, great Dave Cherepan and say exactly what his famous saying was for so many years.
You can say it. Stormy said the T word a couple weeks ago.
That's yeah. So I might as well just say it then, huh? Nobody knows bleep.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating just to look at the odds again today, tracking this thing the entire time. Who's going to go number 2 overall? Is it David Bailey? Is it Arvell Reese? Anytime one of these guys gets out to like $1.60 or a $2 favorite, it completely flips the other way. So nobody knows bleep. And I can't recall an NFL draft. We've had them legal since, 2018?
Yeah.
I believe. I can't remember in the legal draft betting days where it's like this, Pauly. And everybody is so tight-lipped. The one that comes close would still be that Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud draft where it was still a little bit unknown who's going to go number 1, and then could Will Anderson actually go number 2, and then like an hour before the draft, they just both took off.
Yep. 4 hours away, you don't know who's going number 2 and number 3, and Love is favored at DraftKings to go 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And this is refreshing that these teams have been able to keep a secret in this day and age in social media and prediction markets. It also reminds me of 2016 when Bosa went to the Chargers, that nobody had that. Nobody saw it coming.
That's right.
At number 3. So there's a great article up on ESPN.com, and they talk to a lot of GMs and former scouts and what have you. And one of them is Tom Telesco, who made the pick and was the GM at the time. And he figures about 20 to 30 people, less than 24 hours before the draft, knew what the pick was going to be. And then they asked him, well, what would you do today, knowing that someone could have inside information? And he goes, it would scare the bleep out of me.
Yeah.
And they also talked to a former GM about, the people who really know and do all this work are the scouts. But when I was a scout one year, I started out, I was making $35,000 a year. So who's to say I wouldn't try to grab a quick $5,000 to $10,000 because I know what I'm doing. So what the team's going to do.
It's like a UFC fighter almost.
Yeah, right. And then also how you just spread it, or maybe the nonsense we went through in the NBA where people were giving out injury information. So here it could be watch the prediction markets and see what happens. But so far there hasn't been a ton of movement. But this was the NFL, what they were concerned about, and asked the prediction markets not to do stuff like this, where you would have the inside information. Telesco said, when I was a scout, we treated the draft info like state secrets. The only thing you can really do is scare people and tell them heads will roll. You got to trust your employees, but if you don't trust them, you got the wrong employees.
Well said.
But also, like the Steelers, there's a source here that talked to the Steelers organization. They said we might be naive, but we just have an open door policy. Like maybe 50 people over the course of a week can walk right in the room, and you would get the information and know what they're going to do in the draft, which I guess is dangerous in today's day
I would say so. But also, here's the deal. We cannot forget that the NFL was so anti-gambling forever.
Oh, yeah.
Until it finally became legalized. And then, hey, look at this. They can capitalize on that and make a ton of money from these sports books and partnerships that they have moving forward. But you can never get that out of your brain. And so if they asked Kelce and other prediction markets to not offer draft picks, right, that tells you that they probably had talks to all of their teams and ownership groups and front offices across and said, gentlemen and ladies, you cannot allow any of this information to get out. We better not see it. We don't want anything leaked. Do your damnedest to make sure that nobody knows and nobody's talking. And maybe there's that angle.
Martin Mayhew, a former higher up with the Lions, said, as a result of this, the NFL is playing with fire.
Well, I got news for you. I mean, Kelce signed a $300 million deal with Major League Baseball this year.
Uh-huh.
How long before prediction markets are going to sign deals with the NFL? And then it's going to be...
They'll probably wait till this, see what happens with this first.
Yeah.
Get this knocked down.
I can't wait to see what the reaction is going to... Remember, they specifically told their insiders years ago, stop giving away the picks before they're done on television. We don't want you to ruin the draft.
Yep.
And they did for a couple of years. Schefter would have the next pick 30 minutes before it was actually announced on TV. So everything was on social media first. And...
Well, that's where Goodell did a great job, though. I mean, the first year he took it over, it was... The first round was 6 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It was an abomination.
And tonight, 8 minutes now
That's right.
for a pick,
That's
so it's
right.
going to be shorter than ever.
That is true. Now we've gone too far the other way. Now everyone's too tight-lipped, and they won't let them unleash hell, and they won't let the reporters do anything. Right? Here's a perfect example. This was Jay Glazer yesterday about there's going to be a trade when someone's on the clock, but I can't go into details. Here's Glazer.
Well, listen, last year I broke the story that Travis Hunter, Jaguars, is trying to trade up, and it was like draft day, maybe noon, something like that, where it was like, all right, this is solidified, but they just want to make sure. There was a couple things that could have been a hiccup, but there's not a ton. Look, I think a lot of teams. There was a report a couple weeks ago, like, "Wow, you got more trades in this draft than ever before," and it kind of lends into what you guys just said. I don't know if that's going to be the case because not a lot of people want to say add capital for this year's draft. Now, if they get to add capital for next draft, that may be the case. The one you talked about, Jeremiah Love, and right now a lot of people haven't been connected to the Cardinals at 3, and I talked to somebody. The Cardinals said, "Yeah, be great, but it's a little too high for a running back." The salary would make him, one of the highest paid running backs in the league right out of the gate. I think you'll see some trades later, maybe for offensive linemen if there's a run on offensive linemen. But it's an interesting draft.
He went on to say, though, there's going to be a trade.
There's going to be a bombshell.
There's going to be a bombshell coming up early on. There's going to be a trade, but I can't say it until the team gets on the clock.
Uh-huh.
But that's how they're the hands are tied like De Niro in Copland here, where you can't do anything. But he said there's going to be a trade very early in the draft, but I can't report it till the team's on the clock. So maybe because 3, 4, and 5 are looking to move down. Could it happen that early? But that's incredible. But it's to your point, though, how we've done a complete 180. Schefter's breaking news a day before the draft, who's going to go where, and now you can't even report 3.5 hours before that there's going to be a trade here in a first round.
So basically, you've had a chance, and this applies for the last 2 weeks or even the last couple of hours. You have 3 ways to play this number 2 pick overall. You can either have Bailey in pocket at a nice number. You can have Reese in pocket at a nice number. You can have both guys, right, and just lock in a profit. If you're laying minus money, you're in a bad spot here. If you're trying to chase the steam at this point, and maybe the market will be right on this maybe a little bit later on if they do find out, maybe like an hour before the draft. But I don't anticipate that thing really taking off either way while we're on the air for the next 3 hours or so. And maybe that big trade could be the Saints from 8 all the way up to number 3. Like, why did Daniel Jeremiah mock that last night in his final mock draft? Yeah. Could that be what DJ has along with Jay Glazer, where, okay, I'll mock it. I'm not going to say that I have the inside information, even though I do. And the Saints are going to trade up. And is that maybe the same team that Glazer is talking about here? Could that be it? How about somebody threw out there you want to get nuts? Jerry Jones is like Javonte Williams was a nice story last year, but he's not the future at running back. And Jerry Jones has wanted to hit running back out of the park now for many years. What if they traded up to 3 and took Jeremiah Love? Somebody threw that out there. That's not me. Somebody threw that out there.
Fano is now the favorite to go 6 with the Browns. And there's also on Kelce, there's a head-to-head. Freeling against Sadiq. And there's been a lot of steam on Freeling at DraftKings and moving up the charts. But Freeling head-to-head against Sadiq, to go ahead of him, he's only 53%. I mean, Sadiq's in the 15.5 range.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
And you're seeing maybe Freeling could go 6.
Yep. There is some chatter that the Browns want to trade out of number 6. Everybody knows that. The problem is, are they going to find a dance partner to move up? That's going to be the issue for, I think, several teams, including the Cardinals at number 3. If they stick and stay at number 6, from what we're hearing, it's going to be offensive lineman, but it's not necessarily Fano. It could be your guy, Maui Noah, or it could be Freeling, who was like 15-1 earlier today to go 6th overall.
Yeah, well, I hope Francis isn't there. I hope he goes at 5. I think the steam going up on Styles and betting him over is accurate, and it seems there's something to the Freeling stuff too.
Could be.
But
so do you said that you think this is refreshing?
Yes.
You like that we don't know rather
Yes.
than having the information so you can get down on bets and like feel really confident about it?
Absolutely, yes.
I think some of these bombs are going to come in. If you've been approaching it now like that for the last couple of days.
Oh, last year too. I mean, a lot of people were spectacularly wrong, or wrong in spectacular fashion, right? But I know there was the guy here at Circa who runs things. He's in the David Purdom article. He goes, our goal is just to break even.
Sure.
That's what I want to do. But between prediction markets and inside information, and it seems everyone's tight-lipped and doing an excellent job, and I'm stunned. To be 3.5 hours away, and you don't know who the second pick's going to be, is nuts to me.
I know. Earlier today on prediction markets, there was a head-to-head matchup between Bailey and Reese. Bailey was like $1.50. Now that's completely flipped again, too.
Yeah.
Tonight's playoff schedule coming up. Opta AI projections were strong on A.J. Mitchell last night. He had a big game. They're high on 3 different props involving the same player in a game tonight. Find out who that is next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Overall numbers now, NBA playoffs here. 16 games deep. Unders have cashed 13 out of the 16 games. Home teams are 11-5 straight up, 10-6 ATS. If you do the zigzag, meaning betting on the loser in the next game, 8-4 ATS. And that angle is 58% since 2021. All 3 road teams are favored tonight. Road chalk in Game 3 of the first round since 2021. 13-4 straight up, 10-6-1 ATS.
This is a great night. And some weird stuff could happen.
Do you have a strong position on any side tonight?
Tonight, no. Saturday, yes. Sorry. Can't give you... These are tough games.
Can I...
Because number one, Gordon's downgraded to questionable.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
This escalated quickly.
Yep.
And you make the point, why are the Wolves not favored? The last 4 years, head-to-head, it's 15-15. These teams are even-steven. So I love the McDaniels comments. Nobody on their team defends. No rim protection. Go right at him. Joker looked gassed. He made 1-3 in Game 2. He has got off to slow starts. He only has 12 first-half points so far. They're 21st in defense. They're 28th in blocks. It's right there for Minnesota. I think they can come out fired up. They're not afraid of them. They know they can play with them. The total might be a tick high, but it may be a good in-play opportunity. You got to see what Gordon looks like, number one. I would agree. This is big news. He's been downgraded.
Sure. If the Wolves win this game, I honestly can't wait to hear the reaction afterwards. Because people are going to overreact so much, it's going to make you pull your hair out of your head. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be Joker's cooked. He is like he's not a fat slob, but people referred to him basically as that earlier on in his career when he couldn't get up and down the court as often as he does nowadays. He's gassed. He's not as good as people think, yada, yada, yada. The negative stuff will come in on him at that point. And the Nuggets could very easily come back and win the series at that point. I'm actually intrigued by maybe taking the Wolves to win the series right now and playing that both ways. If they get the win tonight, then maybe come back with a little bit on Denver after that. But yeah, +2. I took a load of that in pocket today with the Timberwolves.
Sounds good.
So
Joker props and stay away from the triple-double, even though we should have got it last game.
Gobert's done a pretty damn good job on him here.
Yeah?
I'm not going to play it at the current price.
Okay. How about the 0-2 angle with Toronto? I can't get there. I just think they're overmatched. Cleveland can get any shot they want. They're too good. Mobley and Allen should dominate down low. And I can't get there to recommend anything with Toronto. They can win, season on the line, but hey, how'd that work out for the Penguins yesterday? I can't get there with the Raptors. Again, 500 balls since December.
If I had to bet the game, I would look at taking Toronto plus the 3, which here at Circuit's down at 2.5. But if you think that Toronto is going to give their absolute A-plus effort and game at any point in the series and match Cleveland, because Cleveland has clearly been the better team in the first 2 games, like tonight should be the night. And I would not do, and I'm not going to get involved in first quarter, first half, because that's been too baked in now going back since books really caught on to this several years ago. But I would consider the plus the 3 there.
Well, the thing they're up against is also today's NBA. You can't, fewest made threes in the playoffs.
That
Houston
hurts.
and Toronto.
Yep.
And then in the regular season, Toronto was at the bottom as well. They're going to lose the math game every game because Harden, Mitchell, Strus, hello, game 1.
Yep.
Even Merrill, they're going to bombs away from 3, and they're going to outscore them big time from the 3-point range.
Give me 1 second here to expand on Strus because I teased that before the break. Last night, the Opta AI projections, which you can look at vsin.com, they were very high on 3 or 4 different props with A.J. Mitchell for the Thunder, and they all got there. So tonight, Opta AI is also projecting a big game out of Max Strus, according to his numbers anyway. They are projecting 15.12 points and rebounds. 13 plus is available at like just a little bit higher than even money. It's a 19.9% edge with that prop on them. Also 15 plus PRA, they're projecting 17.06. And 4 plus rebounds, they're projecting almost 5, a 17.9% edge there. So all 3 of those props involving Max Strus, Opta AI likes them.
Props in the Minnesota game. I don't mind DiVincenzo, who did it last game, most threes plus 450. I don't mind pizza money on Cam Johnson at 9-1, especially with Gordon compromised. Mm-hmm. In the Knicks game, I think come back with Daniels. It did lose, but it's gone over every game against the Knicks, over his rebounds and assists. And why not come back with Hart most rebounds? He's cashed 10-1 and 7-1 so far. He's 6-1 at Caesars, most rebounds in this one. But the fact that Alexander Walker and Daniels haven't played well in this series is even not good for the Knicks. Atlanta 14-1 at home, last 15. The loss was to the Knicks, though.
Mm-hmm. But great game.
Yes, you get those 19 points out of Kuminga, though, in game 2. And we'll see if they come out pissed off because they gave that game away. They blew it. Cat should have a big game, but also it's kind of like the Rockets. In this series, the last 7 seconds or less left on the shot clock, the Knicks are shooting 26%. So Brunson has to do a better job, and I want to see the adjustments that Brown and the Knicks make because he was burnt toast. They cooked him, just attacking him with McCollum and how good he was. So this is a fantastic game tonight, but I don't have an opinion on the side, but I do like Daniels props and Hart props.
I would go Knicks. I'll piggyback on what you said about Mike Brown, better having adjustments. I have it in my head that if Thibodeau were still the head coach of the Knicks, like he would be able to figure out a way, and McCollum probably would not. Maybe I'm just making this up in my brain, but Thibodeau was such a good defensive coach that I have it in my brain that he would not have allowed McCollum to do this so far in the 2 games. And had he done it, like tonight would have been a big adjustment time. And now is Mike Brown capable of that? I don't know. We'll find out together watching it. But again, with Josh Hart, 11 and 15 rebounds so far in these 2 games, back-to-back, 8.5. I played over minus 114, 10 plus is plus money. I saw 16 plus is a huge number. It was like 15-1 earlier today. And I also bet on Josh Hart at plus 280 to have a double-double tonight. He's had a double-double in both games so far. Should have been betting that. I have not. But I will chase that a little bit tonight because, again, I'm pretty confident that rebounds are going to be there. It's actually going to come down to whether or not he's going to put up enough shots to get to the 10 points to match that and get the double-double. But I figured at that price, I thought it was still – and other books had like 2-1, so I took the plus 280.
Yeah. I'm very strong on the Suns Saturday afternoon. Getting 10, Williams out. It is only a grade 1, but they were ticked off, and they went after the officials, and that's their season. When do you see this type of opportunity? Season on the line, They're mad. There's a key injury, and you're still getting 10 at home.
That's the only way that I would look at it.
Yes.
I think we have time to play this, don't we?
Yeah, he went there, too. I was surprised.
But I'm glad he did. So, I mean, the calls were outrageous last night in the game. And
I don't understand it. For a small market team to get this whistle, I don't understand it.
What'd you say, Luke? We're good? Okay. So SGA went to the free throw line 9 times. Booker had 1 free throw attempt. The calls were so inconsistent, it makes you want to break the TV. And Booker, who never does this, went off last night, especially after the technical foul. Here you go with Devin Booker.
It's definitely something that has to be looked into. I heard Caruso tell him to call the tech, and, he ended up doing it. So that's one ref. In my 11 years, I haven't called a ref out by name, but James was terrible tonight, through and through. It's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE, if they're not held responsible. It's hard. It just feels disrespectful. I know I haven't won a championship in this league, but I have been in it for 11 years now. So to get to this point, to be treated like that, for me to even be saying something out loud, it's bad.
Have you ever done something? I mean, have you ever? I don't think I can recall you talking about the officials.
Yeah, it's my first time in 11 years, but it's needed. Like I said, whatever I get fined for, everybody can pull the clips and see where the frustration comes from.
That is strong.
I tip my cap to him.
Wow.
He knows he's going to get fined. I mean, referring to it as the WWE. And that technical foul last night is absolutely pathetic and embarrassing for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
What an awful call. And
was it also because, Caruso told him to call it?
Yes, he's going like this. He saw it on the video, and he's going over there and talking to him, telling him to tee him up.
I like what Brooks said after the game. He goes, I grew up watching the NBA and watching young LeBron, but most of the time was Michael Jordan. It's physical basketball now. The flopping, the flailing, you don't get the calls. It's toughest team that wins. You don't decide games on free throws. It's completely flipped. He's right. And for a small market team to get these calls and for him to get that whistle, no one else gets that whistle. As we talked about, Curry's a superstar, the best shooter ever. He can't get a call.
How does the call against Booker on the foul? There's nothing there. He whiffs on the defender. He doesn't touch the guy.
Yeah.
And good for Doris Burke, by the way. She was livid on the game. She called him out last night on the contest.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is, it started with Harden. But you cannot initiate with the push-off, with the off arm, and then get the call over and over again when you're initiating the contact.
That's right. And then call it completely the other way for another. I know what Booker said. I've never won a title. Well, he played for a title, and they were up 2-0 in that series. They also had some really good teams, and I'd say that he didn't have a lot of great teammates.
Yeah.
So that was tough to watch. NFL Draft guest number 1 today. Walter Cherepinsky, WalterFootball.com, joins the show. They were responsible for moving the market on Jordan Tyson going to the Giants at 5th overall. What else does he have up his sleeve today?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NFL Draft tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Programming here on VSiN is going to be awesome. It's going to be Humans and Murray on the show, going through the entire event, grading their picks, trying to maybe give out some winners live based on the numbers that you're going to find at certain sports books and maybe prediction markets as well. And we go out to the progressive guest line right now. Walter Cherepinsky joins the program. WalterFootball.com is the website. They do a great job. And Charlie Campbell is on the website as well. He joined us on Monday. He has been the most accurate mock drafter going back the last 9 or 10 years per NFL media. And Walter, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Good. Exhausted, preparing for the draft, but I'm excited to talk about it. So thanks for having me on again.
You bet.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it was you and Charlie on the website responsible for moving the market here for the 5th pick overall. Jordan Tyson to go to the Giants at that number. Right now at FanDuel, he's the second shot on the board at plus 290. And Charlie mentioned that briefly on the show on Monday. What number did you guys get on him?
I think Charlie had a better number than I did because I know he bet it. Then he sent over the pick to me, and then when I got it, I had to bet it like right away before posting it. I got plus 700 on Jordan Tyson to go number 5, and yeah, like you said, the number has come crashing down. And I think it makes a lot of sense. The Giants want to give Jackson Dart a weapon to work with. Malik Neighbors coming off the torn ACL, and every pick from 6 to 9 can draft Jordan Tyson. The Browns need a receiver. Washington needs a receiver across from McLaurin. The Saints need a receiver across from Olave. And then you have the Chiefs with Rashee Rice getting into trouble all the time. All those teams could draft him. So it's not like they can wait till 10. I think they have to take him at 5 if they like him that much. And it sounds like they do.
So if they go with him at 5, then at number 10, what do you think they do? Do they back that up with an offensive lineman, or do they switch it completely and maybe go the defensive player?
I think if one of the premium defensive players is on the board, they would take him. The person who stands out to me the most is Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. If he's there, and look, he can come off the board at 9 or 8. Some team could move up for him. Maybe Dallas moves ahead of the Giants at 10. All that could happen. But if Delane is there at 10, I'm pretty confident that they're going to take him at 10. If he's not there, they can go offensive lineman. But Delane is someone that we bet on as well.
What do you think of all this Jeremiah Love hype and the fact that he could go number 3 to Arizona? He's favored at DraftKings to go number 3 and number 4. Where do you stand on Love?
So I think he's a great prospect. I think it's the wrong pick for those teams. I always maintain that if you draft a running back in the first round, you have to be a team that's ready to win right away. Like the Lions when they took Jahmyr Gibbs a few years ago. They had a great roster already. They already had a good running back, but they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs to take him over the top. It's kind of like the Eagles signing, it's not the draft, but signing Saquon Barkley to get them over the top, and it worked. The Cardinals and the Titans are kind of like the Raiders last year, where the Raiders drafted Ashton Genty. He was another great prospect, but he was getting hit in the backfield all the time because they couldn't block. And I worry the same thing is going to happen to Love with Arizona and Tennessee. Both those teams have issues on the offensive line. I know Arizona wants to trade down. Tennessee, I'm sure, would like to trade down. I'm not sure about them, but I do know Arizona wants to move down. The problem is finding a suitor to move up in this draft class, which is not very exciting and not filled with top-end talent. So if Arizona stays at 3, I think they're going to take the best player available, and it sounds like they really like Jeremiah Love, and he's someone we bet on as well to go number 3.
Okay. Have you bet any exactas? I know that some books were offering top 3. I'm looking right now. Boy, DraftKings now has top 5. It feels like hitting the exact 5 this year would be mission impossible. But if you had to bet an exacta, let's say top 3 right now, it's going to go Mendoza, then who, and then obviously Love at number 3.
That's $1 million question right now. Bailey was the favorite this morning, and now Arvell Reese is the favorite. I don't think anyone knows, or maybe someone who bet Reese in the past few hours knows. It's a weird situation. We don't have a read on it. I wish we did, but the Jets have been so tight-lipped these days. Back a few years ago, we used to be able to predict them like the sun rising, every day. It was so easy to guess what they were going to do. But now they don't let anything slip by. We know that they canceled the top 30 visit with David Bailey, but I don't think that means all that much because they didn't have a top 30 visit with their previous 3 draft picks either. So we'll see. Right now, if I had to guess, I think they would go Bailey. So Mendoza, Bailey, Love, but it could easily be Reese. I'm not betting the exact. Something I did do in the top 5 was I parlayed Jordan Tyson to go top 5 and also Jeremiah Love to go top 5. I think we got 9-1 on that.
Okay. What do you think happens at 4 then if Love is gone at number 3 and he was projected to the Titans obviously for weeks, and how would they pivot?
So it sounds like they would go with the other one, who would not go at 2, whether it's Arvell Reese or David Bailey. I think that makes the most sense. And if Sonny Styles has entered the conversation, I believe as of a couple hours ago, he was the favorite to go number 4. I'm not sure where that is right now, but there was a report on X saying that the Titans would definitely not take Sonny Styles at 4. And I could see Styles falling, which is strange because he could go 4, but in my mock draft, I have him going 12 to Dallas with the caveat that I think the Cowboys are going to trade up a few spots to take him because when you get past it, like the Giants at 5, we're pretty sure they're not going to take him. They're going to take Tyson instead. The Browns at 6, they don't need a linebacker. At 7, it sounds like Washington prefers Carnell Tate over him, and you keep dropping, and you can't find a spot for a linebacker. So It's a strange situation, and it's really not a premium position where off-ball linebackers tend to fall in the draft, kind of like safeties. So they're usually mocked much earlier than they go, and then they tend to fall, and then people are surprised all the time, even though it happens all the time. But it is a possibility. I mean, again, we're not quite sure what the Titans are going to do outside of the fact that we knew that they liked Jeremiah Love beforehand. But yeah, if Love is off the board, I think it's going to be. I think it will be the Reese or Bailey, whoever the Jets don't take.
Okay, so we played a clip earlier from Jay Glazer, and he also was like projecting, and he said on our radio yesterday that he's got a bombshell, but he can't say it yet. He can't say it until the team's on the clock, right? And then you see Daniel Jeremiah's final mock draft last night. He had the Saints moving up to number 3. Are you guys hearing anything about like that, the team that could go to 3, and could it be the Saints?
I was told today that the Cardinals are expected to stay at 3, even though they'd love to trade down. I just think that they're not getting the trade offers they want. From Dallas, they wanted 12 and 20. Dallas does not want to give up 20. So I don't. If it sounds like the Cardinals just won a lot, now maybe they kind of relent and take less value than they initially thought. And if they trade down, I think they would take Mawanoa, and the team that moves up to 3 would take the Reese/Bailey player who does not go number 2. So it's still possible, but from what I was told a few hours ago, the Cardinals are expected to stay at 3, but it's anyone's guess right now whether that changes or not.
Okay,
are they going to go Ty Simpson at the end of the round?
I think so. I have them moving up from 34 to 32 to take Ty Simpson. That trade makes so much. Like I said on Friday when I was on your show, I hate projecting trades in my mock drafts, but I only do it when I believe there's a high chance it happens. And Seattle at 32, they only have 4 picks in this entire draft. They want to move down. I'll be surprised if they pick at 32. And then Arizona wants the 5th-year option with Ty Simpson. And they really like Ty Simpson. So I think they move from 34 to 32. Maybe they move up a little bit earlier than that. They've had trade history with the Texans. I can see them moving into the mid-20s. But I think that they will make a move for Simpson at the end of the night.
Okay. So other than that, maybe finding a number on Simpson overall to go in the first round or specifically to the Cardinals, any other bets that you would recommend here as we're 3 hours and 22 minutes away from the draft?
So a couple of things. One was that we had Caden Proctor over Monroe Freeling. That line moved as well. I still think it's worth betting, though. Proctor is someone who has generated a lot of interest. Charlie Campbell posted a rumor mill entry today talking about how the Lions would be interested in moving up for Caden Proctor. So the Lions, maybe that's the bombshell. Maybe the Lions move from 17 past the Dolphins or maybe past the Giants. Maybe they move up to 9 or 8. I could see that happening. So we like him over Freeling, who's not as great as a prospect as people were making him out to be earlier. And speaking of the Dolphins, we kind of narrowed it down to 2 main potential selections for them. And then one possibility is someone we can hedge with. So the 2 guys we like, Caden Proctor, which is why they'd have to move ahead of the Dolphins, because we know the Dolphins like Proctor, and then Reuben Bain is the other one. I have Bain going to the Chiefs at 9, but if he makes it past the Chiefs, I think the Dolphins would be really interested in Bain. And then the one we would hedge with at 11 would be Caleb Downs. It's hard to find a spot for a safety. I currently have him number 8, but if he doesn't go 8, he could drop, as we've seen last year. Malachi Starks dropped. He went to the mid-20s. We had Nick Manwari. He dropped as well. Like I said before, safeties, off-ball linebackers, they tend to drop all the time. And so if he falls to Miami at 11, he could be the pick there. So we like that as a hedge for the other 2.
Okay, very good. And yeah, all these books now are offering basically which player is going to go at every single number in the first round, which I don't recall happening in previous drafts. So good for them for booking that anyway. Walter, that was great. Thanks so much. Best of luck with the draft tonight, okay?
All right, thanks so much for having me on.
There you go.
Thank you.
Walter Cherepinsky. The website is walterfootball.com. He's on X at Walter Football. They do a great job year-round covering this event. Pauly has win-lose up next, and I'll give you what a couple of odds makers told me about the number they would have had for Game 3 if Wemby was definitely playing next year on VSiN.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
All right, Keldon Johnson, 6th man of the year, 60-1 before the start of the season. Pistons get it done finally. First home playoff win since 2008. OKC Phoenix over 212.5 up to 217. Tobias Harris, most rebounds in the game, 15-1. Brooks, most three-pointers made, 5-1. NHL Flyers, first home playoff win since 2018, up 3-0. Ducks plus 160. Also the prop cash, will there be 10-plus goals scored in a game in the series? Stars Wild double overtime, that was 3-1 to occur before the series started, and you can bet this in play at Caesars as well, and it's a huge number. Stars lead that series 2-1. Giants.
Did you get mad at that result last night?
No.
I was watching that game vicariously through you, as someone from that state.
Well, that's how it goes for
I know, but that's just, look, I honestly think, you called this, by the way, many years ago when Vancouver was playing the Bruins. You recall what happened in 1994, and you said whatever happens tonight in Game 7 in Vancouver, they're going to riot, and they did.
Yeah, they'll burn the city.
Great call. If the Wild were to ever even reach the Stanley Cup, that city would go absolutely bonkers.
Yep, they're in it every year, and they haven't won a series since 2015. And again, usually lose in the most painful way possible.
Not true.
Giants plus 180. Dodgers can't hit, but they got 3 today.
Yeah, they got 3 off of Webb today. And I had them minus 2.5 runs. I would make that bet probably 10 times out of 10, as I was telling somebody on Twitter last night.
Yeah, Ohtani was filthy again.
Great. And how many times, if they played 10 times, are they going to get 0 runs in a game pitched by Molly?
Yep. His on-base streak ends at 53. He's now 1 for 10 at the dish when he pitches. Rockies plus 135. Cubs have won 8 in a row. Cubs just blew it in the 9th. They're trying for 9 in a row. It's tied at 7 against the Phillies.
Okay.
Yes.
They rock and rolled Sanchez today.
Yes. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on like Christy did. Christy says, hey, this is Chico.
Come on.
When told he has to leave Nana's house. I can hear the no.
Come on.
That's incredible.
I like the name Chico.
Right. Over and over again. It's time to leave Nana's house. No, 3 times.
I like it.
That is awesome. Thank you, Christy.
By the
That is
way,
excellent.
Yeah, Sebastian turned 2 years old yesterday. I call him Chico all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I always give him nicknames. Junior, whatever.
Yeah. That is strong. He can make it out, too. You sent this in. This was at the Red Rock down the street. He's chasing the Royal for $143,000. He has to get dealt the Royal with cheese. Well, so he sits down and he gets a Royal for $4,000. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. And then he got dealt 2s and a kicker. So, I mean, this is some machine. This is a hot machine, right? So that's over $14,000. And we know he gave some back, but he's up over $14,000 just in winnings. And he's going in, I got to chase this Royal. The progressive's hot. It's triple play dollars. I got to get the dealt Royale with cheese. And after the 3 Royals and the 2s dealt in a kicker, it shows up. Pretty good celebration. That just takes the hat off, stands up, and he gets the Royal dealt for $143,000. That's some day.
Same machine, obviously, as you said.
I don't know how long over the course of time, but in that span that it keeps happening, and there's the 2s and a kicker, and then it finally happened. Takes the hat off, because I can't believe it dealt, locks up, and holds it, and it's over $140,000. There it is, hearts. There it is, dealt. Up skiing, up, and up. Beautiful.
So this is specifically a machine that, right there, it's lower left, it resets to $12,000 for a dealt Royal. It's a progressive dealt Royal machine.
Yes,
and that's what it resets to.
Yeah.
So at $143,000, I mean, that's just clear. I mean, it's way past due, right? It's going to pop at some point here very soon.
Yeah.
To get it dealt to you. I sent this video to a mutual friend of ours who used to be on the prowl at Red Rock a lot. His response, you have no idea how many times I've played that exact machine.
Oh, really?
Countless times. He was dealt 4 to the Royal 3 different times. Dealt 4 to the Royal, and that's a dealt Royal machine, obviously.
No.
And they came out in order. He's like, what a sweat that is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the first 4 cards were dealt to the Royals. He's like, oh my God, and then it doesn't come.
Yeah. And Red Rock is one of the few places that has can you get the sequential? And that progressive's massive. That's excellent. Very good. Luke drove to Arizona, make a couple bets, Hoover Dam exit, and you were greeted by the donkey? How does this happen? He just hangs up, comes right up to the car, and as Mara and Brian Musburger has said many times, we need to put a VSiN flag right there. Where there's okay, now you're in Arizona. Check your app and fire away.
It's funny.
That's great. Little friend shows up. Hey, guys.
I had a friend in town over the weekend who was also making the drive to Arizona. I don't know if it's the same donkey. Sent me very similar pictures.
Yeah?
They must be getting very friendly in that neck of the woods now.
Well, one lose some. We're living in a society. I retweeted this. Guy on a speakerphone in the coffee shop, 10 minutes. Another guy, not me, politely asks him to use headphones or hold the phone to his ear. Guy refuses, acts like he's been deeply insulted. What happened to manners or basic politeness? Then I had some fun. I said, let me look at the responses. Why don't you mind your business? Why don't you put on headphones? That would be the polite thing to do. I mean, is this real life? Put your own phone on speaker, turn it all the way up, and blast a random Nickelback song.
There you go.
Problem fixed. I'd stand next to him and speak as loudly as I could, so he'd have to take his call elsewhere. Some people can't be reasoned with. Make them take their bleep outside. What? It's just like, the guy's like offended. Like, I don't want to hear no one should happen to hear. Have to hear your conversation.
In fact, you should not be allowed in a spot like that in a public setting. Somebody like the manager should come over and say, you need to get removed. Like, you're gone, or else get it off speakerphone right now. And if they have a problem, sorry, that's too bad.
Yeah.
You're not a human being at that point.
Yeah. I love the first response. Well, why don't you turn? It's
amazing.
Like blaming the guy who said something. Unbelievable. Sports calendar never stops. Sharp Plays covers it all. They've been winning for 15 straight years. The daily Mr. Poison tweets. The loser, 150,000 on Buffalo the other day. All documented, posted publicly, sharpplays.com. Advanced AI, trusted insider intel, pulling in selections and intel from over 500 pro bettors and sources worldwide across all sports. Pushed right to subscribers in real time. Respected, watched, and feared. Start winning with them, sharpplays.com.
So I'm going to point this out because there is a way to bet on this. More photos are surfacing from Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. Not only at, in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago at the owner/GM meetings, then earlier today, the New York Post had photos of them going back to, I think, to the year 2020. And in fact, I think it was the day the world shut down for the pandemic, and they were kissing at a bar. Now, there was another photo that was leaked, or more photos today, at a casino in 2024 where they were playing, and the day after he got fired, they were together looking like they're having a great time.
Oh, boy.
So guess what? There is $420,000 in volume right now at a prediction market. Pro football coaches out before September. Mike Vrabel, if you want to bet on the yes, is plus 173.
That's all it is?
Could he get canned? Yeah, the no is minus 218 right now. That's way too close to comfort, I think, if you're him.
Well, here's the question. He's going to counseling, so now missing the draft on Saturday.
I'm sure that's going to fix everything.
Yeah, right. We had a good conversation with a friend of ours. Does he lose the locker room? Like, are there religious players on the team who look at this now and say, well, come on. I mean, you cheated on your wife. I'm all about the Lord. I don't roll that way. You disrespected her. You embarrassed her. Maybe you lose the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked at the price. I thought it'd be a lot higher than that, considering they just went to the Super Bowl and he's a hell of a coach.
Like 5 or 10-1 or something like that?
Yeah, but as he said, I apologize for also being a distraction, and you have to answer questions about it.
Sure.
But I don't know. But I would if he loses the locker room, he will. He has to go.
I wonder how Kraft would look at this.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
I don't know that either.
Now, her contract was up in a couple of months, but she obviously is gone already. So that's one way to look at it is, she's getting the scoop from a head coach in the NFL. Now we know why. You could also flip it, can't you? Obviously, if you want to be completely fair here and say...
If I owned the team, I wouldn't fire him. I would just say keep it, buttoned up. But
yeah, no, I mean...
he's a great coach. I just think it's you apologize, and that's a conversation you have to take care of with your wife and family.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I'm wondering, like, in this day and age, is that something where if you get ahead of it right now, it's too low of a number for me to recommend to bet it?
Right, too low.
Right, but if that was much higher, I'd be like, take a stab. You never know. They might look at it as, dude, you're fired with cause. I mean, that's unacceptable, and you broke our code, so to speak. I guess I wouldn't be stunned if they do it because nothing really surprises me anymore. NFL draft guest number 2 on today's show, John Ledyard, coming up next. He covers the NFL draft, the Steelers and the Buccaneers. What position are the Steelers targeting more than any other with their first overall pick?